All right, thank you, Courtney. Well, speaking of China, our next guest says Chinese schools are literally crushing America's schools when it comes to preparing our kids for the future. And he's no complainer. He knows what he's talking about. He's one of the most decorated teachers in America, and he's teaching right here in San Diego County at Southwest Middle School right now. One of the former Teachers of the Year, National Teachers of the Year, Keith Ballard, joins us here. You decided to study this. Why?
Well, lots of reasons. Probably the main reasons is what I see going on in the classroom. What the kids that are supposed to be coming up, taking the future, generations ahead, I think we're in trouble. So you actually started studying the Chinese system of education and what they're doing right now. And where's the biggest difference? Well, the biggest difference is, and I try to tell people, this is if this were a football game, the Chinese public educational system would be something like the NFL, and the U.S. is playing high school football. But the biggest differences are something like this. At age 18, which is typical graduation rate, a Chinese student is going to be approximately 6 years ahead if you look at California school time. And I'm telling you, that's a conservative figure. If you look at typical homework loads of Chinese students and the fact that they virtually don't have any discipline problems in their classroom because they don't put up with it, because schools are for learning and not for playing and having fun. The figure will look more like 8 years ahead.
So in essence, when our kids get out of high school, the equivalent Chinese kid, 18-year-old, is like been to the equivalent of grad school, is what you're saying.
You got it. It's a complete blowout. Shutout, we're getting slaughtered, however you want to say it. America needs to wake up. We're one of the few countries in the world, probably the only country, that doesn't realize that we're competing with the intellectual talent of the rest of the world.
So you offer some solutions. Like I said, you're not a complainer.
No, I'm not.
As a former National Teacher of the Year, and you continue to rack up these awards for your innovative approaches in the classroom, you offer some solutions. Where do we start?
It's a fixable problem. For example, the Chinese, we start kindergarten typically at 5 years old, and in some cases 6 years old.
Right.
They started at 2 years old. They take advantage of early brain development. We know that the brains formed by age 4 at 90%. So they're capitalizing on that. The brains is like a sponge. The second thing we do is we need to increase the amount of days that we're educating our students. In China, they're doing 50 days more per year. 50 days more per year, and they're doing approximately 3 hours more per day. So it's all about time on task. It's just like in your job. The more you do it, the better you're going to get.
Now, are their teaching methods more innovative? Are they teaching differently than we're teaching in our classrooms?
You know what? That's a myth. Their teaching methods are just as good as ours. The problem in America is not the teachers. Honestly, it's not. Sure, we have some bad teachers. We need to do some union reform. But we have a pretty educated, committed bunch of teachers. The problem is the system. The system, we don't offer things like choices, school to career, vocational choices. But you mentioned are the teachers. No, what the Chinese and the Indians have done is particularly the Chinese, they've taken the best practices from America and England, and they've looked at those and they've incorporated it in their Confucius type of educational system. They're excellent teachers, excellent teachers. I have nothing but the highest respect for the Chinese and their educational system.
Now, I know you're going to give a couple of presentations on this, and you'd like people to be involved and be aware. The first one is coming up here Thursday. This is at 6:30 to 8:15, South County at the Chula Vista High School Jack Tigert Performing Arts
Correct.
Center.
It's a free. I encourage you to bring your kids, if they're 8th grade and above, to see what they're up against.
And then also in the North County, you're going to do another presentation on the 22nd, if folks don't want to head all the way down there. That's the North County Regional Education Center.
That's correct.
And you've got a lot of things to say, too. We're flat out of time, but it's
sure.
About this vocational education idea. Not every kid wants to go to college.
Exactly.
But you can still prepare them for a cutting-edge career.
Sure. In China, they're doing that. They're doing that very successfully. Why couldn't a kid learn to be an auto mechanic or a cosmetologist or an electrician or a plumber?
By the time they get out of high school, rather than beyond.
We don't give kids choices here.
All right, Keith Ballard, great to see you as always.
Thank you.
You've been here before because some of your students are extremely talented. You've brought in groups of your students before. We'll look forward to seeing you again.
Thank you.
All right, let's